Hello, hello, hello. Today, now another very, very beautiful day with a Sunday. Like we say, we don't dey push the Christmas small, small. Oh. We don't dey push am small, small. We tell God, thank you for another blessed day. We don't come. And we dey ask Papa God how he don't start this journey with the similar like money I like you too with Alhamdulillah me. Then with brothers and sisters, and when they go home now for go spend the Christmas with their family members, we dey ask God let him take control of the flight, let him be the pilot, then they reach there very safely and they come back safely. We lead host now, Madam Fadima, you know, good day. It's been told us get for travel, but apart from that, you get another emergency. We have asked them how you get even another death na the family wey me self e affect because na people they were all I grow with. That na the Savage family who from England and na Ion. For say I go call her Ion sister because they all grow together then same day. So all of this, you know, go able, you know, deal with you like that. But as usual, we get we distinguished attorney now, Mr. Shilon, we would also tell about Kuboku Tenki, considering the fact that this man and a lawyer, almost 6 days a week he visits in job, he get family, but in like any other person, he said don't decide for giving your contribution like way John Kennedy did talk, you know, he give back to society. I mean he can't sit down every now and then. That's a way for take with your family, they can't sit down for give back to society. We tell her thank you, we tell the wife thank you, and the pikin thank you, and we pray God. Let Madam continue for the very understanding, and let continue for support Mr. Shilon, for let can support you now, because if you don't support him, then Mr. Shilon not good in here, but we'll continue for pray and bless them for that. We get Boku thing what they discuss today. The very first thing what they can discuss after Mr. Shilon not tell now how to, we go back to the studio, then bring the thing. And when I will see, and then what I will do, I will make them Mr. Shilon tell the lead in lay now the case. So Mr. Shilon tell the people that I will do very quickly. Then we go back to the studio. We bring the main topic now. We now that will see that it is speak for itself. So I would rather prefer we can we lead the case on it. So say hi to the people, sir.
Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Any side when I dinner at the world. As soon as I know this is a live show where they enable people and for calling and give their own view, their opinion, and state their disagreement. And our basic rule is simply that we do it with mutual understanding of respect for each other. As long as we do that, we not get no problem with dealing with issues that are contrary to your own analysis of the subject matter. So please, there is so much going on in the country. We appreciate the contribution, intellectual contribution. But let me make one thing clear. When you call or when you send in a comment, you use foul language, you call people their name, just think for one moment, say, help, connect to the purpose down there. So if you call somebody a fool, how does that help the discussion? How does that help Sierra Leone? How have you contributed anything whatsoever towards the good or the things they would condemn? And so that not get no place, even though you can say what you want, but I not get no place in this level of discussion. Which we agree, say, we all not go see things the same way, but try forget people on your side or try for convince people why you think the way you think. But cursing, foul language, disrespectful remarks, to me, it demonstrates a high degree of immaturity and lack of understanding of the issues at hand. Because if you understand the issues, you will call and disagree and state your opinion, not to call and make disrespectful statements. So the moment you do that, it enables we for assess the kind of person we're dealing with. We'll say this person, serious, and this person not even understand what you go on. This person just like a group dance. You see people in the dance, instead just go to just the jump. So they not even dance to tune or to the rhythm. So, but we encourage you now for say that's not the purpose. The purpose is we know say the country they in bad shape. We know say the country the struggle for good leadership. We know say the current government get this thing about new direction. When new direction not get any meaning in the sense that there should be a better adjective to that, because new direction the direction could be over the cliff, you know, the direction could be into the valley. So this thing about new direction is I don't think it's a well thought out slogan. And so, in my own sense and mind of analysis, get any meaning, new direction. What does that mean? Direction into the sea, direction into the valley, in a direction to the cliff, so, or direction towards progress. So we do see new direction, all right, but that new direction there is very, very reminiscence or a remind we of the old direction, you know. So we not see any difference in terms of the uplifting and improving of the lives of the ordinary man at the street. So let we think in terms of the country. Anybody will like the country, please try to think about ways, come up with better criticism. Forget about this tribal thing. Mindeli Mbaloko, everybody is suffering. And the way the country did now, I don't care if you're glad to say you Minde. You get for proof to me say Minde man they get special privilege in the country, with the exception of a few who hold powerful position, where they make a lot of money. The vast majority of any tribe, including the Minde tribe, are suffering. You go Bo, you go Kenema, you go Kailao, people complain about economic and depression, economic suffering. So don't fool yourself. Tribe not gonna change for Dunaya. It no matter whether they're in power. Whether are you countryman, I mean, not even like that phrase yourself countryman, because we're all not the same countryman. But I want that people can get some basic understanding. There's another basic understanding I'm trying to promote. I am in agreement with everybody that the BO government is not doing as expected. It disappoints people. They come, they make all lofty promises. And they've done some good things where, if times permit, I'll give them a lot of credit for. I mean, fundamental thing. We will change the lives of people in the political sense for good. Things where the president not do. But economics are the basic and the most important. Have people's lives been improved as a result of the BO government? No. And that's the main issue now. Politically, socially, there may be some social changes them. So as we progress, I will try for touch on some of them things there. But please, let us take a critical look. So it's not enough if we say, oh, President Biya not do well, therefore he lost election. But you carefully look at, if he lost the election, who replaces him? These are the things we are concerned about. So please, when I call in, we'll get a toll-free number, we'll get WhatsApp number, you can join me on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. So the numbers are displayed on the screen. So please, if you watch the show, rather than listening, the numbers then displayed on the screen. But if you're not watching the show, the toll-free number is 866-944-7722. The UK number is +44 203 239 9581. +44 203 239 9584. From Australia is +61 280 064 352. And Australia again, +61 280 064 352. And on WhatsApp is 1-343 997 5828. 1-343 997 5828. So I turn it over back to Professor Kutubu, my co-host.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shilon, for laying the groundworks. We see something very disturbing that we told me. The principal, street set, especially by Connaught, where people in the dump trash. In fact, let go to the studio, let they play that video there. Let us see, and then we'll come back. We will make Mr. Shilon open up as to how we see that waiting at the, ramification, with any kind of accident. Technical team, we are play that video back for the with via CCM.
Okay, Ivana Kisoya, Mayor of Freetown. Na Sunday morning this, I just come out na church, I come by, I drive along like Footballston Street, and I see this na the road, and I just want to turn the camera, let fumble them, see, waiting, I see. This na in front of Connaught Hospital. This, I just don't talk to people that waiting at the area, then tell me say na overnight. 9 people then come, and as you can see, this not a small dirty, and waiting we don't realize, say this thing happen now all over the city. All over the city, over the last few weeks, a combination of things and they go on. We see people and they can't do dumping, open dumping. Now areas them we not ever get this kind of a situation they happen. It not ever happen. This not clear attempt for derail the sanitation in the city. But it go hand in hand with something else we don't go on. Family then go no say for the last 3 months. Because I don't talk them, I don't raise them, we don't raise the alarm. Because it happened from June to August, and then finally then pay the workers them, the tricycle sweepers. Now it don't happen again. All over the city, when I go realize say the goal and the ambition of transform Freetown only works when people work. And waiting it happen. The one they wait for sweep the streets, the tricycle sweepers, then don't be frustrated. We don't get now, we get into the 3rd month. We go into, in fact, this is the 4th month for let them be paid and then not be paid. And so obviously, since now you get for buy you fuel, now you get for pay you rent, now you get for repair your vehicle, if they say can't sweep Freetown and Freetown City Council not pay because me don't authorize the payment. But the CA don't find one reason, other reason, make so. Even the payment we are authorized before I travel last for September, not reached that account there yet, and now we did December. So waiting at the results now these streets that are not swept, and then go turn around and say the city dirty. Well, the city dirty because dirty to be generated every day, and if you not sweep, you go see dirty. But done day, because waiting at the show na so this goes beyond street sweeping. This not deliberate dumping all over the city. We see on by Model, we see on by Bure Road, we see on a new bypass, we see on a Lumley. So I ask, say, Freetonians, let we stand together. If the city clean, now we all benefit. Transforming Freetown about transforming lives. This to bring sick, this to bring poor, it bring diarrhea, it bring arata, it bring cockroach. Who that left in us last night come with vehicle and can't left this naya. Why then do so? Tomorrow we start a program where we bring the section chiefs them for support we enforcement, because we only have 150 Met Police, and this city now 1.5 million people. We not go able for do the enforcement and run after everybody as council. But Freetonians, I talk to na today as una mayor. I talk to na today as una mayor, and I appeal say let we all do the right thing. Let we not encourage anybody for do what we witnessed so this morning and what we don't see over the last few weeks. I don't appeal to the tricycle guys them, even though not only September, and all man no say if you wake in the morning, you wake early morning 4 o'clock 5 o'clock, you go sweep streets, then nobody not pay you. So man in the bang and that street sweeping where they do, so man then is sick behind that walk there because that dirty walk, but then still the persevere and then continue. So we get a responsibility for pay. And I want for also appeal, because one of the things that will happen over this year, more people they go testify say they can't account for campaign and property rate until they say the system they down, they're not able to pay. So we actually not been get as much revenue to date. Not only 24% of the property rate don't be collected, and now 17% of the business license. So if you're not Freetonian, you know say you not pay your property rate, let you come to council, or you go to the bank, Eco Bank, Rokel Commercial Bank, Zenith Bank, or Standard Chartered Bank, and go and make the payment. Because now when you pay, now we will get the money for pay the workers. And even when we get the money for pay the workers, as they explain, we still not pay the workers. So, family, they make her close now. Yeah. I can't do my vehicle because when I see this, it pull me out. And I know say any Freetonian we love this city, it go pull me out. For let it see say now we don't reach. Now we don't reach. Freetonians, Dotty not the common as sky can down. If we meet Dotty na ground so now we don't do them. So I want let we search with conscience and let we know say this thing is very wrong. Famble them, I go stop here. I want to assure everybody say, no matter what the challenge, God is our helper as a city. If Freetown great, not to mayor they get credit. Now all Freetonians they get credit. If Freetown clean, not to mayor the healthy. Now all Freetonians they healthy. If Freetown be attractive for tourists, now all Freetonians then go benefit. So let we not do we self bad. Let this kind thing here stop. Let God bless we all this Sunday morning. Thank you.
Well, una all don't see the thing speak of itself, speak volumes. Mr. Shilom, start for give the analysis of this thing here, what you witness so, and what's an implication? I mean, why we don't reach to this stage here so? I mean, lead off with this.
Hey, here is my take on these things. There are lots and lots and lots of people who are in a position of power. We don't really grasp the essence of governance. Now, Freetown is not only the city, because the mayor keeps emphasizing the city, which I appreciate. But I want to let people then think for one moment that Freetown is part of Sierra Leone. And this is where people are missing a lot of significant points. There is a saying, they say you never cut your nose because you know like how your face look. Because when you cut your nose, because the nose, they make your face look bad, or you get one nose, so you cut them, so you will just look more and more and more. So the saying say you cannot cut your nose to spite your face. What you would see now, would you see an attempt by some groups? I mean, I think it's reasonable to assume that for motivated by political reasons, they try for sabotage the efficient and effective running of the city, forgetting the fact that Freetown now we showcase, now we're capital city. Freetown, when people come, a lot of times they don't even go beyond Freetown. Now, how they see Freetown, I ain't going to encourage them for even go further. So, when we decide for dump trash deliberately for political spite, maybe at the behest or instigation by a certain group of people who basically may not understand the basic rule of governance, then see the country otherwise, they are doing a great disservice to the country in many ways. Because first of all, in the area of public health, everybody's health is being endangered. And I think people don't understand. You go say, oh, it's not going to affect my health because I didn't have a car, I didn't have a Mercedes, I didn't have an SUV, I did drive. But the people that were the work under were exposed to them and places. Then they getting when I were driving at the SUVs them, when they get in contact with them people in many ways, then they kind of in offices, then they work for una, then when they buy food from them in the market, because they get for pass around them. So there's a thing called public health. Una they endanger the health of the public in a way where eventually will catch up with una. So if you're not a responsible person, why would you do that? Two, there's the thing about law enforcement. If we don't hear anything from the government, the central government, we don't hear anything from the commissioner or the inspector general, that to me, that silence will be deafening because it seems to me they support what's happening. If not, the president, the minister of health, together with high-powered people, should be outraged with this kind of behavior. Because now we showcase place this. So if we don't see any emotional reaction or anger or no attempt by the police for investigate who are doing this, that by implication they are supporting what may happen. And if you know the support which may happen, I think it's a gross disservice to the country, and you people are not meeting the expectation of the services we on the office require. So when they talk about public health, we talk about law enforcement. You know, people need to realize that the mayor is just an individual. So if you do something for spy time, individually, if she wasn't concerned, she wouldn't even care. She would just go on. Now, she just mentioned certain things. When are we going to get over this practice of making sure low-level employees are paid and they are paid on time and they are paid adequately? Why do we have a system where the top brass always get paid? Now, when it comes to health business, the minister not to go 1 month without him pay. Well, he can afford to go for a whole year without pay. He not to do that. He expects the low-level people there, like the street sweepers, who are barely scraping on, whose income barely can buy them 2 bags of rice. Therefore, go for months. I mean, what kind of, I call that cruelty. I call that unreasonableness. I mean, it's unconscionable because we should even be thinking like that, we the educated people. Now we will say we don't land book, now for tamper, taper people's them reaction, violent reaction, destructive reaction, such as dumping trash in the street. And why wouldn't the police, and if not by truck, somebody they can dump trash? I mean, I think there should be a massive investigation to stop this, you know, because at the end of the day, lawlessness. You see, what you people don't understand, the implication of lawlessness. When you begin for engineer and encourage and promote lawlessness because you think, say, it's beneficial to you, it is counterproductive, meaning it go boomerang on you, it will come back for haunt you or your loved ones. There is no way lawlessness pays in the long run. In the short run, you might get a quick benefit from it, but in the long run, it hurts you, it hurts your loved one, it hurts the country. But imagine for an instance, now with the complaint say job not in the country, investment not in the country, but who that they will get money we want to invest? We say, oh, Australia, a nice country, nice mountains, looking at the Atlantic Ocean, wonderful place. You can't find a place like that in the world. When you come, the streets are full of trash, you know? And if you're a foreigner, you want to invest. Now, what if I encourage you for say, oh, wow, this is not the wrong place I come. I mean, it reminds me of the story I once heard when President Gaddafi became Australian, where he was saying all this large amount of money for build this masterpiece mosque or for be a showcase. And then one of our problems, we don't even believe in masterpiece. We don't believe in it. Now mediocrity, just for get by. Now that will mentality don't end. This man sent money kind of Freetown when people remember the Chile president Gaddafi kind of Freetown. Then Friday come, he want to go pray. He tell them say, I want to go to the mosque for see that I want to pray at the mosque where I send money to now. Wouldn't drive the man go to the mosque. He tell them say, no, not to this mosque. The mosque where I send money for. Now he didn't say in this. He say, what? All that money I send at the mosque this? You see? So we don't even get this national pride anymore. We don't want for do anything way symbolic of progress, way symbolic of concern for others. This is the most perplexing thing, and this is coming from supposedly people that will go school. I know I use the word educated people. People that can read and write. Because education is a broad word way entails so much, because we don't see people who can read and write extremely uneducated. But we get for begin for appreciate with country, and everybody get a duty, for make sure say the country is portrayed in the light most favorable to we. So people in come with and say, if you come abroad, you say I come Australia, we say, oh, that nice, beautiful country, wonderful city of Freetown. But this is not what we're doing. With the country we know for spiteful face. Some people then, because they want for make the mayor look bad, then see they're not able to separate the mayor from Freetown, Freetown from the mayor. They're not able to separate then they try to separate Freetown from Sierra Leone. You cannot. Freetown is part of Sierra Leone, and Freetown are the capital, and Freetown I will showcase. Freetown are the place where, if you come through the right means most times, other than the borders of Guinea and Liberia, if you come through the main port, Freetown are the first place you go see, and we get our understanding. They all along they say first impression goes a long way. So if the first impression now unhealthy, dirty city, why will anybody even have the thrill to come back? So we have to be very mindful. This is dangerous politics. And if Inspector Sovula, I will expect him for do something for the outrage and put massive people of investigators for not only watch for prevent this kind of thing, but for arrest and prosecute. I'm sure that dumping and trash na the public street must be in violation of some kind of city ordinance, if nothing else. I'm sure there are laws prohibiting that. So let us see how enthusiastic the police chief is, and let us see how enthusiastic the central government is in combating lawlessness. We cannot be condemning lawlessness on the part of one political party. Then we encourage them, because this is the kind of argument I hear people all the time. People will tell you, say, well, you condemn such and such a President Biyobo and his Kurumbi, but that's not the point. That's what we'll complain about. The other side was doing wrong. This government can then say, then condemn all of that. Then say this is all this is not good for the country. All of which were true. Then when I come and I do the same thing, then when I support her, they not even understand, and they say, well, why do you condemn this one? Because the other one be to do the same thing. So should we just continue that vicious cycle there of people coming in, doing things because the other party be doing, even though it's detrimental or bad to the country? So we need for land better. Yes, the mayor also they talk about. All of us have misunderstand the mayor. She said they have 150, I guess, the metropolitan police them. Now they get 150 for a city of over 1 million people. How is that going? How is that manageable? 150 metropolitan police. So, and then the people that were there on the bicycle when at the garbage pickers them, they know they get paid for 3-4 months. This is just inhumane. It's terrible. It's bad. So we'll therefore put politics aside. We'll therefore do what's good for the country. Then we can go into with separate corners and deal with political disagreement. But this thing about people, they don't know the difference between what's good for Salone and what's good for the party, and they not really understand for say anything we're good for Sierra Leone go good for SFPP, go good for APC, anything. So that's a simple formula. If you do something we're good for Salone, it go correspondingly good for SFPP, it go correspondingly good for NGC, it go correspondingly good for APC. But if you do it the other way around, this is where lies the trouble, because you want to draw a constitution because it pleases one president in power. In a country where you get 7 million people, but you draw a constitution for the pleasure or the satisfaction of one. You want to pass laws where affect your enemy forgetting the fact that laws are not just made for particular group or against particular group, it's for everybody. So, and sometimes you get what you call unintended consequences. You pass law for affect one person, it affect another group of people. So we have to be very careful. And sometimes the group will intend, and it can be you way help for pass the law. Because we get plenty of examples now that in Australia, certain people and we get the power, we engage in passing bad laws because they want to get at others. Now then safe have to be quiet, then can't be as open, because some of them laws and they wait and they try for challenge now and then very well pass them, because they nobody look, say then go there on the other side. So we have to be careful. So that said, Professor, I will pass you back to you and just see what you get for say.
Actually, for add to the narrative, because they not see the video and you don't explain the ramification. You see, they wonder about the mindset. I mean, why we don't reach this kind of a level now? Why we not be able to compartmentalize issues, and why we allow the emotions and for overriding? I mean, because waiting people and always fail for realize, Mr. Sheila, on these days. Just like when you use the word unintended consequences. When something happens, more say something untoward happen, more even go to the rebel war which take place, the Ebola, the mudslide, and this corona. People get for always understand the fact say, they come for any specific group, specific person, specific group, or specific area. It become a commonwealth. It affect everybody. This night forbid the mindset, even if I did against you, Mr. Shilon. But waiting belong to all the commonwealth. I know Puela. Because not to you get her, not to me get her, not everybody gets her. So if people that make the city, and that way let them understand, say not to the mayor that they do. Yes, the mayor not clean the city, fine. But it says more of we, the people that we did it, than the mayor. So for say we so oblivious of even we sanitary integrity, what environmental how they call them. The mayor no dey naya, you don't live naya now una dey. Mr. Shulon, I hope you understand where they come from, sir.
Oh yes, very much so.
The mayor no live in that vicinity dey. Now una dey. If roaches what you call them, rats them, all that they can. No, not to the mayor. Now also it go. So the fundamental question where you go ask yourself, what do you get out of this? What you get out of this? I think so. The whole thing, Mr. Shilon, people they need for actually recalibrate their mind, because like again, like you use the word in unintended consequences. Certain thing the way you do. Where you think say na that person, no, now make the put parable say where you point this finger so 4 gets back to you. You see, 4 gets back to you. So the hope is when me one actually think say the whole thing, the way where the white man he define ignorance when they say somebody ignorant, what actually you not somebody who actually you not a working covenant from somebody with brain dead, because the things that we they do of conscious of the far-reaching ramifications, not only for you but for the next person yonder, because that threshold yonder so it affect everybody in that area, everybody, the health hazard in the question somebody trying for either score political propaganda, politics, and all that thing, everybody gets affected. Everybody. So I think say there has to be a mindset there. There has to people they get for change. How they look at all this emanate from the fact say way we know they put the country first. If I did SLPP, everything with SLPP do correct. If I did APC, everything with APC do correct. Then you forget, so you get one contraption, one when they call Salone. Without Salone, there's no SLPP, there's no APC. So we are going in at that kind of platform here. Let we learn for 10 people, they say there is time for politicking. There is time for politicking. There's time. So we are. The next thing we I want to discuss, Mr. Shilon, as a matter of fact, what we will do now, I don't know if I will get you permission, even as we do the discussion, I let the line open. So, and then go punctuate we, but we go make sure to hold on to the maximum of 3 minutes. 3 minutes we will ask the station for some the alarm bell. In fact, they give warning. The first alarm bell when they go, you will cut off. While it be an interactive discussion. So you come, you add your own small, but you don't go come and give the lecture away. One thing I want to bring your attention to, Mr. Shilon, that this population, this census, where they go. In 2015, the government then come up with EU census. He comes say where the north get about 2.5 million people there, the south get 1.4 million people there, the east get 1.6 people there, the western area get for 1.5 million people. He come up with that. He put it this way here. The north get 36%, the south get 20%, the east get 23%, the west get 21%. But then when they ready for allocate seats, when they decide for, they come with 20 seats. Then 9 they make. They give 18 to the western area, another province, and the other people get 111. Okay. Then the constitution where the authority that they divide the power from, it said 10 years. But the same constitution now say a president can, may call census anytime he wants, at any time we want. But even as the constitution say every 10 years. Now, when they go out here now, there's a complaint when they go out there that the administration, they do census where they say either illegal, you not follow this, you not follow that, let's say so people don't participating. So what I want to go to you, sir, now this they call it, they call the logic of syllogism. If the administration then may derive the authority from the constitution, so I wonder if you going to help me out of this for seeing if the administration now, if they do anything like this, it pernicious. They do things out of context. And when you don't discuss that, I want now let you tell me, waiting at the way forward, how we go, avoid this crab mentality. You take one step forward, you take another step backward. You take one step forward, you take another. So look into this, really mathematics, me not sabi maths, so I just had a corner to look into the really figure there, so and you come in, and then you come back and tell me, waiting at the way forward.
Yeah, well, again, you see, our system gets so many flaws. And I hate for keep going back at with so-called bookwoman them. They have really failed the country. They have failed the country in so many ways that you can't even mention. For example, let's go to the drafting of the Constitution. The basic, okay, let me first of all say, what they express now is based upon the lily where me pick up in school, taking 1 or 2 constitutional courses, in law school, when I say school, and in America, in a law school, when they say college, but in law college, whichever way is convenient.
No. But now schools.
Yeah. So, man, when people understand, I don't think saying high school at the talk about,
No.
So the course then what me take, and the 10 where the practice actively, particularly in the criminal law area, that because criminal law in America, first thing you are mindful about is the constitutionally protected right of your client. So the experience I pick up in the courtroom from other lawyers, from rulings by the courts in trials that I was involved in. So that gave me a foundation for be able to look at a constitution and see so many defects in the constitution. Now, I'm told apparently that the best and the brightest then write through constitution, which is fine. I have no question with the intellectual capacity, ability of them people in there. I believe they are very smart, extremely bright people. But I think there's some degree of deception in giving this image that because you are a lawyer, you know every aspect of the law. Anybody who know anything about the law knows say the law get over 200 areas. Nobody has expertise in as many as 4 areas. They make people in the specialize in the areas. So when it comes to constitutional law, I have been asking this question, and I'm hoping somebody will take the challenge and kind of show and educate me. Who were the constitutional scholars who participated, people who are special, who are constitutional scholars or constitutional lawyers or people who have written articles on constitutional law, who have experience in drafting constitutional law, who put the constitution together? Because there are some basic rules they miss. For example, we're talking now about the census. It's okay to say there shall be a census taken every 10 years. That's all the Constitution should have. When you go beyond that point, then you begin to say the president, however. Constitution doesn't talk like that. The Constitution doesn't make condition. Constitution doesn't give power to this or the president. That is left with Parliament for take that there shall be a constitutional or a constitutionally conducted census every 10 years. Then Parliament for do what you would call the nitty-gritty, break it down as to what circumstance, how. And in a census taking, president should have nothing to do with it in particular. Why? Who comes up with the idea of giving discretion to the president? And you cannot give conditional thing or you don't specify anything within the Constitution is a must. Then you can't turn around and draw up legislation and say that what they say there shall be, however. You know, that first of all, that phrase does not belong in the Constitution, nor will Parliament have the power for modify what you want to put in the Constitution. So what you will get there, we'll get a contradiction in a way. Because you cannot say every 10 years, and I mean, let's be fair. And I always like to lay this premise. I'm not an SAPP supporter. I'm not an APC supporter. I've always argued that these two parties are both sides of the same coin. Neither one of them has the capability to do anything good for Sierra Leone as a whole. You get the same set of politicians circling around, the same party them. Of course, there are exceptions. There are some good people them in both parties, individuals. And we don't see what the individuals in there, from parliament onwards, then they suppress them. There are young people then we come when are parliamentarians and we come with great idea and ideas for change things, for make life better, only for run into a brick wall. So when I talk about APC and SAPP, I don't mean every individual in them two parties are terrible people, but characteristically, the two parties are not good for the country. Okay? So now, if when I give the president the authority, say census every 10 years, but the president in an exercise of indiscretion can call, I could do a census, what are they complaining about? And then BO, not to BO write the law, not to the SAPP government to write the law. This is the thing about making bad laws. You know? So what the President BO is doing here now, which I'm not justifying, I think is still wrong for the country, he just they take a badly written law, they take advantage of that law there, and do what you want to do. Also, Mr. Kutubu just mentioned the fact that they do census, then they create 18 districts. And let's look at when you create 18 districts, just think about the financial expense involved in that. Every member of parliament in the 18 district, then get transportation, then get subsidy for the staff, then you get for paid in salary. I mean, think of how much in the hundreds of thousands that run into. Don't forget, not even talking about the political unfairness. And when you do that, what should say other governments where then only they come at the south or the west or the east, where they have come not for gerrymander the process and give any area 25 seats, 30 seats, and how long will that continue? I mean, the people in way land this book with the wrong government, and then for the balance, for make sure we do what's good for the country. Because if every country come and take census, I mean, every party can and take census, then give 20 seats here, 18 seats here, well, what's going to happen every 10 years? Every 10 years, the party in power add 15, 20, 30. But in about 100 years, Parliament today we get, let's say, roughly about 100 members. Then we'll get 1,000 members because of politics, even though 99% of that membership there is unnecessary for the country. You know, so I use the word seriousness. People are not really serious about running government. They just see it as a quick means to an end. We all know, say, politics and the quickest way to get rich. That's what 99% of these folks are interested in. Is the power and the means to money. You can tell by the activity per se, they are not really showing the necessary or the requisite interest in the country. So the census, I want to let the record reflect that President Bill knows it's wrong. The way APC draw the constitution, they need for modifier. A president should not have the discretion to call census as he pleases. When Parliament, when the constitution, which I always remind people, and also which we don't, a lot of people are not aware of, the constitution is higher than Parliament. Parliament does not have the authority to pass any law that is contrary to any section or abridges the constitution. Every law passed by Parliament for them within the framework of the constitution. So the lawyers, I'm encouraging them greatly, and there are so many holes they can challenge, but they're not making other thing there. When Parliament passed their egregious laws there, then vague laws there, then expansive laws there, the lawyers, the legal profession should challenge the legality, the constitutionality of some of them laws here, and let the High Court pass some judgment or define the law, whether it is being interpreted and implemented as it was meant to be, or the other way around. Because we get a serious problem if Parliament will forget a constitution or will just cast aside, Parliament could pass a law as them feel. Talking about that, if we want to make ourselves a country of laws, very recently, I understand, say, Chief Savula, the IG, just on Leone, he say he prohibit pepper spray. You know, again, the reason why he prohibits pepper spray, he say he understands certain people and get them. Then he say anybody who they catch you and then go arrest them. Well, in Sierra Leone, in the constitutional democracy, Chief Savula doesn't have that power. Where did he get the power from? He is not Parliament. He is not he's not the city council. How can he just come and make laws say if you possess certain things? That will be a basis for arrest you. But this is how gradually we drift. When the police chief himself thinks he should decrease. You know, if you walk on, police chief say, if you walk on the left of the road, we'll go arrest you. Even though no ordinance no prohibit that. No law, no statute, not prohibit that. So we say people then not forget pepper spray. Who gave the power to the chief for issue a decree as to the conduct of people? He gets his hands full for enforce the law or the degree of lawlessness will take place now. Why is he even venturing into that kind of thing? But when this happened, by now we should have a set of civil rights attorneys who are pushing these things to challenge the power and the legality of them pronouncements there. Unless we get interest in that, everybody within in the power structure, they think, say, oh, I'm not a touch them because I benefit from that. It won't be long before nobody benefits from it. So my thing is with the census, I will hope, and I don't think he's going to change course because I think President Bio is using whatever power he get from the Constitution, whatever law he exercise now, not to America, not to in party. I think a previous government make them laws than they. But I believe, say, if he care about the country, he for try for amend them and modify them, not for those take undue advantage of the law, knowing full well that it leads to nothing but corruption and gerrymandering. And I think the two political parties then can even meet. Why I say the two political parties, I'm sorry. There are more than two political parties. The political parties, the NGC, the C4C, and the other one, them, all, these are the things we bind them together. We then for meet in the interest of the country, agree on certain frameworks, and the census is one of them. But and this thing about misapplying the number of people belonging to a certain group or a certain tribe, I think it's dangerous because with the distort facts when we do that for get political advantage, because if there are 10 people in a house, when I put say 50 people there in the house there, when I might get away with it, but in the long run, in order to tell the true story of what you want to forget. And I think it's time the universities themselves begin to play a very, very active role. It's not enough for just say in a professional university. Start publishing papers, start getting involved in some suggestions to the central government and the city government. These are some of the things. So me on take on the census thing, I think say the law itself, giving the president discretion to just take census anytime, is a violation of the very constitution that says every 10 years. That law they should be challenged. That law they will give the president the power is Parliament not get that power, therefore give the president that power, therefore exercise discretion about the census. You see, that's the first thing. The Constitution say every 10 years. So when every 10 years, Parliament cannot pass law, we modify that unless then go back, they modify that section of the Constitution, and that's the modification can only talk in terms of length of time. They cannot begin to start talking about discretion because, they put that in the Constitution. So there are lots of things in the Constitution that do not belong there. Lots of details that are for statutory codifications, not for constitutional law. But the people that we put the Constitution together, I take it that a lot of them did not know that. So they don't know the boundary line between statutory law, they don't know the boundary line between case law and constitutional law. And this is the problem we're having. So intellectually, professionally, we are still struggling. We who are entrusted with the responsibility of putting the laws together don't even know what we're doing. We are too full of ourselves, meaning we're too proud for call. So man and things say if they get PhD, it demeaning for call another PhD who has more knowledge and a specialty in a particular area for can do the work. Well, look at the area of medicine. If you're a doctor, you think you go do brain surgery, you go do foot surgery, you go do vital organ surgery like kidney and liver just because you're a doctor? No. So if you're a lawyer, what qualifies you for just grab the draft constitution for your country? Just because you're a lawyer? You don't get that qualification there. You're not qualified. Just being a lawyer not qualify you for draft a constitution for a nation. You can do you could draft a constitution for an organization or for some community. But when you start talking about a nation, that's heavy lifting. You need people, and you need the cream of the cream. You need the one that will know what they're doing, who knows, who can foresee what the implications are. And no constitution, no matter how well you write them, is free of unforeseeable problems. Things will arise that the framers never thought about. And that's where the court comes into play for put their own intellectual fitness into interpreting the law in relation to present day. But we're not even doing that. We'll get a Supreme Court where they get 1 or 2 or 3 cases a year. It is bad. So there's a whole lot wrong with the country. So law enforcement, bad laws, all they contribute to all this problem.
Thank you.
So
Thank
Professor,
you.
go back.
Thank you very much again. Like I said, the line is open when the calls and come later come. But I want let we dwell. If I go to the amplify, which you are not on the law. Friday, the Salone Bar Association will get a dinner. So the president come up with some kind of some statement. Let's say, but some of we, I was a bit concerned. So today, na Salone Talk Forum, where they deal with issues coming in analysis. I take the Bar Association on, and particularly I send that to you. You being a lawyer, for let you read, because I had a lengthy write-up. I write lengthily. They are making one. One of your colleagues, then he pick them up, but obvious that you understand. Nothing for share, but of course, it's in the academic. Now, the back, you know very well, say, in any society, the people that within at the law profession, now then they serve as the guarantors or the bastion of the constitutional liberties. From them, now they get a workable court system. The job of the law people, their own job, now for always, for all the administrators and, make sure they hold them within the confines of the laws. Because like you say, the laws then serve as the foundation, the moral compass, the ethical foundation. Now in, wait trouble say, we like continue because now that is terrible. But for too long, we lawyers in a salon, for some reason, they're not seen for be very committed to the canons of that profession indeed. And some of the statements they make, they have hazard, you don't see the commitment, and like you said, they don't hold people are accountable. For example, look at how cases get inordinately held in court. Imagine cases that they didn't court 5 years, 10 years, a judge don't give a decision on that. And the lawyers will go there, they represent you and they represent me on the same case. All of their ethical violation, they will just see, I'm not sure say they get the kind of professional bodies then where go police you, of course say you get a kind of a body then they will regulate their conduct and all that thing, and that goes for judges also. But then waiting they want begin tell the government will. So me broadcast today tell them say no, then they put their house in order. I saw I don't know if you know read what you write or don't hear, but assuming you read or you write, I want to comment on this. The sort of bar association again as Salone, the quality of the lawyers, and whether in fact they help the country or they find a part of the problem that the society with the caveat again, and hopefully you see what you write today, or you glimpse or a little bit of what you. So back to you, sir.
Well, you see, the problem where we get, Sir Leone, even with the profession, I get a little problem. Well, I get a lot of problem with them. Because you don't see sincere effort on the part of the profession as a whole. for maintain the standard of excellence and efficiency that it once was. Instead, we keep reducing the standard lower and lower and lower, and pretty soon it will hit rock bottom. Because then say there is a certain point where it hit rock bottom, you are not going to be able to go below that. Okay. First and foremost, the profession itself, once upon a time, maybe still referred to as a noble profession. So I want lawyers to then go back, then find out why was this profession referred to as a noble profession. You know, it was noble because it was engaged in social progress, protection of individual rights, protection of individual properties, and on and on. But what have we seen? How can we continue to say the profession is noble when the profession doesn't stand against obvious and blanket, blatant injustice? For example, you give the example of cases taken so much in court. It behooves me, or I don't understand, because certain things just they beyond me comprehension. How can anyone belong to a profession as respectable as a legal profession and does not see anything wrong with cases taking 11, 12 years in a court? Judges deliberately will not render judgment, and they just treat it as business as usual. Just imagine if a lawyer is 10 years old as a child before he even went to high school. That lawyer, they became a lawyer when he was 10. And a case that they start that time they wait 10 years old. Now that he's a member of the bar, that case they still not go to trial. I mean, how ridiculous can it be? How is the profession seeing that and not to speak against that? Why should we use the legal profession as a means to promote injustice? Then we keep ironically referring to the whole process as justice. What is just in that? What is just in keeping a prisoner in a holding cell? Like me, I have a friend, Sori Tarawale, who I hope a very able, capable lawyer in Mississippi, I hope will join us next week. We'll go even shed some light. He writes some interesting thing in response to Professor Kutubu, in writing the way Professor Kutubu referred to. And Mr. Tarawale say, the president of the Australian Bar Association has not the faintest idea of how a good ethical bar functions, nor how judges act with an eye towards the canons of judicial ethics. He said, these people don't even have the faintest idea, they're just talking, you know? So I pity whoever the president is. You cannot judge how bad your system is if that is all you know for comparison. This is Mr. Tarawale writing. I'm a colleague of mine. You cannot judge how bad your system is if that is all you know for comparison. The violation of individual liberties is so egregious. The disrespect and disregard of basic principles and rules of, this is the difficulty reading from the telephone. Disrespect and disregard of basic principles and rules so inculcated in the due process that we cry to high heavens for redress. A friend told me the other day that he has had a simple boundary dispute case in court since 2009. Pre-trial detainees. Pre-trial detainees are people who are awaiting trial to go to court to be tried, languishing in pre-trial detention for 5 or 6 years for offenses with maximum jail time of 2 or 3 years. Lawyers kowtow to the idiosyncrasies of judges in holding court. The system is bad and needs reform from outside. The bench and bar of Sierra Leone cannot fix itself. I agree wholeheartedly. And this is a reluctance on the part of these people. They don't welcome outside ideas like what Sorital is saying here and what I'm saying. They don't want to have any of that. They just want the system to remain as it is. But it is just bad. And people cannot be silent. Those of us who know better will have to point this out. So this is not criticism of the profession itself, but they can do more, they can do better. They can rise back to the level and the expectation of the word noble. They can reclaim the phrase noble profession. But these are not phrases that will just give you when I get for Arnhem. The profession was noble. We see how noble the profession was and has always been in this country, in the United States of America, which countries like even Britain tend to follow. For example, the reason why a lot of we will not be there, we know when there was a civil rights movement taking place. It was a tough goal because there were certain people with power who believe, say, separate but equal was fine. I mean, discrimination was okay. Blacks should be treated otherwise. The profession became noble because there were lawyers who put their lives and their interests and their profession on the line. 2 cases and challenged the system. When a manufacturer has them manufacture defective product where they kill people, even motorcar where them for see what will cause accident, they not fix them. It is lawyers who go to court and challenge these manufacturers. When they make medicines where they kill people instead of helping people, now lawyers them. They are at the forefront, making sure the system work. When you're able to express your freedom, when you're able to protect your property, now lawyer then they in the forefront for protect those rights. So it's a profession indeed that is noble, but the nobility somewhere along the line since independence, I think we are gradually and we don't drop them somewhere, and we're still looking for the nobility of the profession. So people it sound good for say I'm a lawyer. I grew up in the era when there were lawyers who were committed to the cause. There were lawyers. One of the best lawyers Sierra Leone ever produced, I keep telling people, was a lawyer called T.S. Johnson. APC should know, they should even have a portrait of that man in the APC office. And every young lawyer should know about T.S. Johnson. This was the man where in the 60s, when Sir Albert was tough on the APC and the opposition, T.S. Johnson was a lawyer who was out there all over the country defending APC supporters them without pay, with just a promise that they go pay later on. And he was a very able lawyer. And T.S. Johnson was the man. A lot of them are too young for know, but there was a case called the State versus Kurubale.
Yeah, you mean the police guy? I mean Grant.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
killing of Grant.
There was a case involving a diamond dealer who presumably was from the Gambia, but he began at Bamakonta. Then claims he in broad daylight killed
Grant,
a police officer by the name of Grant, who was assistant to deputy commissioner of police, and that was a big thing in the country. That has never happened. And Kurubale did so in the presence of eyewitnesses, and was so angry that he says he doesn't mind to be executed. And then when the system was working, no lawyer will stand forward to represent Kurubale because of the possible he killed. But who again step forward when the system, the courts, one forget lawyer from England for can represent Kurubale. T.S. Johnson step forward. He say, me na Creole, Grant na Creole. Kurubale supposedly a foreigner, but I will represent Kurubale. I will represent him free of charge because he deserves representation and will not get forget lawyer from England. And anybody who follow that trial, they will be one of the best criminal trials in the annals of Sierra Leone jurisprudence. T.S. Johnson did a fantastic job, even though Kurubale killed the man in the presence of other people, but there were extenuating circumstances where make you do that. They use Olande for mitigate the trial and the outcome. And at the end, Kurubale was found guilty of manslaughter, not murder. But those were the days when a man like T.S. Johnson put the nobility of the profession, the safeguard of the law at the time, entitling a defendant to fair trial, and he prevailed. Against all odds, he now come into tribalism and say, well, Kurubale and a foreigner, I kill one of my Creole brother them. That was irrelevant to T.S. Johnson. So, in fact, I think the service is a gross disservice to young lawyers and when they come up 10 days here, we don't know anything about a man like T.S. Johnson because he was one of the best the country has ever produced. You know, by now, if not be America, yeah, we will have had so many things named after T.S. Johnson. You know, you will have had a T.S. Johnson Foundation. You will have had a T.S. Johnson Law Scholarship. You will have had it because this man was a great lawyer. You know, and I encourage young lawyers who may be listening to this, go back and research the name T.S. Johnson and find what this was a person who had a true calling to the profession and perform his job very ably. So we are looking for more people like that. And those were not happy days. You know, T.S. Johnson was under threat of physical violence, you know, of contempt by judges, you know, but he stood his ground. So so these are the things. So where are those days? So this profession we would talk about now with duty for safeguard. I do not understand why we not think say we own system. If America, if England, if many other countries, we with all in technology, where you don't become an expert, you still get continuing education. When you become a lawyer, you don't know all the law. We'll get programs where you are required to do at least 12 hours a year for sharpening your education, your knowledge of the law, because the law evolves, the law to change. Why a country like Sierra Leone not get something like that in place? Why do you think when you become a lawyer, all of a sudden that's it? You're good. I mean, nothing changes. The law doesn't develop. So all these are all the things. There are so many things we can learn. Once upon a time, we had a Chief Justice, Amit in Sierra Leone, where I show him how we get a court in this city that I live, that disposes of 700 traffic cases a day, in one day. I don't know if the whole of Sierra Leone gets 700 traffic cases, and if they do it, probably it will take them till the year 2045. You know? And I tell the Chief Justice, I say there are ways if we care about moving cases. We'll not get that many cases. I don't understand the justification why any case will take. And, you know, this is bad. So the profession itself, then get it just as bad as the politicians. The politicians only do a disservice to the country. The lawyers are doing their own disservice to the country. The health ministry, look, you see what's in the happen. Low-level employees are not being paid for months. So everybody is doing a tremendous disservice to the country, and we expect to see progress. It's not going to happen, you know. So back to you.
Thank you. What I do, I go hold this program.
I understand there Okay, then can we take a call? At least let's take
Yes,
a call.
no, take a couple of, about 3 minutes. Nobody not for exceed 3 minutes though. 3 minutes, they bed for golf. Yeah, go ahead and take the call, sir.
Yeah, hello, caller. What's your name? Who's side you call from?
Yeah, yeah, sorry. This was one of the call.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for calling. Tell me what you get on your mind.
Oh, okay. Your intake actually not to about Marabi or whatsoever. Now special for now. I want to wanna thank you for the work we don't do the whole of this year. Me not to person where they listen to news then so. Those things start for listening to viewers. Find interesting. So I keep on following what thing they happen and tell not thank you because we're able for make we see what thing they happen at Salone, the things where they go on there. And a special advice to Una the panelists them against we the followers them. Una the panelists they also on this so people then they would then go attack Una, especially Mr. Kutubu. People and they will go attack Una we be say. Then people and they not so people who they elect the country. Now people who they elect individual. So then they attack Una the way they want and how they want. But Una no respond to the way they attack Una left them. Because somebody will elect in country. When you elect your country, they do the right thing. Just small example. This morning I see the mayor post about dirty when they go to way. When they put na the city. Imagine, I no one use the word said in one try for dirty image, but you wouldn't go pay for go do that avocado, or you wouldn't send for go do that. You therefore think, I go able dirty the image of the mayor, but I go able heal or cure people who wouldn't go get sickness around here. You therefore think, you know the thing for only one person say you destroy this person. You they destroy a lot of people around you. Now, this now we're not able to think about. We, the Salonians, the way we don't let one person and not care how you be or why you what happened to you, now deal with you. We get for let we see. They say you get for make you home the way you want, and so tomorrow you get happiness. That's all I get for tell now. I thank you very much, and I wish you a happy Christmas and happy New Year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. We wish you the same. We wish you and your family the same. And we appreciate you listening to the broadcast and hope you will spread the word that went to others that when they get the time to please just tune in and make their own contribution just like how you just do. So we thank you very much. We wish you a very happy New Year and take care.
If we don't get the other call,
so we, Professor, we can move forward to.
Yes, we move forward. Okay. The last major thing we can discuss is going to be this. Now foreign policy we can discuss in the context. As you know, Salone be independent since April 27, 1961. We go now between 1960, May 1960. We tell us we will sit down for ourselves, we will manage necessary affair, then give independence and all that thing. But it does appear see in paper, we are an independent nation on paper. But in practicality, not really. Every little thing at the international community, or not to ECOWAS, na EU, na this, na that, na United States. So the concern we are getting there, and I don't know if you're able to share this concern with me. If everything else get for they go to the international community, everything, you know, if you say I will be right for talk, say we might as well surrender the sovereignty of the nation and go back, will become a colony of one of the Western powers, past United States. Let surrender with stuff. Let now be a colony of the United States, so that the international community go stop for the detail, because you get in foreign policy, you get what they call vested interest. For example, America here in France, they get some really, chamot. But America tell France say, yeah, we interest come first. France vex them pull the ambassador. Now America say France, we not get problem with that. Then when put the ambassador that they bring and come back. So at what point you go get to where we go stop for the take dictation for people there? Because they told this census business when they say, oh, IMF say they don't go give money, World Bank no give money, it's not go give money, they see any. How long will they count down to the whims, views, and caprices of foreigners, even as they claim for being a sovereign nation? I want to let you 5-10 minutes talk about that quickly. Then what you will do, like I said, we'll be done by 5:30. Then we'll just get into some really entertainment area as we need time for go. So look into that very quickly, sir.
Well, this is the thing. I asked the question the last time. When we get the mayor, where Parliament hurriedly, for whatever reason, which I think was so unnecessary, for can account for certain. If it was not even specific for we to know what exactly it was, because it's kind of mind-boggling. There was this big issue of the president and Lara Taylor Pierce. And in fact, make I digress a little bit. This Lara Taylor Pierce thing, I want people to understand that is not Lara Taylor Pierce, not the Auditor General, the Office of the Auditor General and the current government, because would they forget say Miss Taylor Pierce is assistant Naman, and he too is under severe attack by the authorities, and he is one of the people where they suspend too, not to just the mayor. But the thing I don't understand, the mayor kind of parliament, the parliamentarians, they hardly say they want the mayor for car account. For car account for what? When an organization for do with funds from the government was kind of strange. Then she appears, and then lo and behold, she in trying to explain to them why certain funding to the mayor's office no put her in a position for receive money or anything like that. So I'm saying to myself, we on Parliament, we are being told that the European Union they give we money for renovator. We on Parliament, we not even understand say when we census. World Bank now they say we're not giving money for even conduct the census. So I mean with traffic pattern, then they give money for study we on traffic. What do we do for ourselves? Really, are we that helpless that everything now waiting World Bank, European Union, and other countries then say now we will do, and how we get for do? We don't know when it's time for. And when they talk about even say the parliament is being renovated, I'm thinking in my mind, say, well, renovation as far as I know, for entail, because parliament is again another showcase. The parliament should be immaculate. It should be contemporary. It should be impressive. It should be at the level of other parliaments in the world. So, but it seems to me the kind of improvement or modification they make now a modest modification, not to anything major, So why we don't accept this standard of mediocrity? We are not doing anything to reach world standard, and this is not the problem. So I do not understand. Now, if we continue this trend that we now get money for fund anything for we own development, that we are at the mercy of the European Union. So, like Professor Kutubu say, what was all this big talk over the independence? That we are capable of handling things for ourselves. What capability have we shown? Where everything, where the white man left Giwi, we've lost them all. There is not a single thing that involves infrastructure, whether or not in the civil service, whether in education, where they withstand the test of time. As soon as the white man turn them over, as soon as we get hold of it, we've not been able to handle not the Ministry of Education, not the civil service itself, And let me point out one thing where they create problem also in our country. I don't know why we can't see. You see, many years ago, one of the worst bad name where the Creole man beget from human family is that they're not the help people, in the sense that we come by hiring. He get out with man mentality there's so much that in your family picking no go hire him if in family picking no qualify for the job where they apply for. So the standard was held up. Now they put anybody in any position. You go take a person will barely finish high school, or if you finish high school, you go college, in order to think beyond the high school level, you make a managing director of a company. Where government get interested, knowing full well that person did not get the qualification for run the place. You know, you go take somebody, you put on the board of governors in a bank. You know, just as for political expediency or patronage, knowing full well and not go contribute anything into how that bank day for progress, develop, get bigger, hire more people, you know, increase the financial base. That's not the goal in mind. And we see over and over and over where now kids are coming out of university, there is no job. We are losing that sense that for say it's a turnkey process. If they begin a common university, they have to look forward to meaningful employment. They are not getting it. They are not getting it because the leadership not think in those terms. We expect some wealthy person for come Australian can rescue we. And even that, when people with wealth come, what do? We restrict and confine the people to unreasonable standard. When you come, you say you want to open a certain business and sell things at affordable prices. You will get top officials and say, well, we'll get 2-3 people to do that. And no, if you want to sell them, you get for selling the price wouldn't save the sell. You know, there is no competition. So all this, they hurt the system. And I, in fact, was listening to an audio by Dr. Kande Junkela recently, where they talk about with custom duty and everything. But you would think, say, this is a basic thing. If you want people to be able for, particularly with the country, with the low earning power people can get, you cannot keep raising duty at the ports. You cannot make yourself vulnerable to Guinea and Liberia. You cannot encourage people because we on duty then so high, then go bypass through ports, go Guinea and go Liberia, and then bring things from that part there into the country, all because we just no want to lower the price. I don't know, I mean, the custom duty. So there are a lot of things, but all this will work for the country. We'll put the right people in the right place. Let people know say, I mean, I'm all in favor of paying people adequately. We know which, you know, the economists, then for look into that. We'll get for bring expert them for say, you know, a police chief, you know, or the ordinary police. How much do you really should pay him without him getting the temptation of taking a bribe, without him being taking what we call mokofe because of necessity, because he's not being paid adequately, so he's not able for keeping him going. I've one run government, so I keep saying government running is very difficult. So now I make them convinced, say the one that way to go there, they not commit themselves to changing things. Then just see it as a quick means to an end. And that's what we see over and over, and no matter if you're in APC or SAPP. Last but not least, I want people to understand. When things back, when the economy is hard, it's hard for everybody. You don't go to the market and people say, well, I go sell per man to you, strive you be. Okay, you're not the man, now an association course, you're not me there. It doesn't matter. You see, we should take that into account. We should understand that when the system bad, it's bad for everybody. You know, they pick you by tribe. When you see when sickness come, like how Mr. Kutubu say, we want to promote, want to inject or put public health into danger by spreading dirty all around. Well, the people already pass around that dirty day. They already passed it by tribe. Now people, and we intermingle. So everybody go get them. So the one day way to go do that for political spite, then just not understand what they do. And the one way they encourage them for do that, and these are people where they are enemies of the state. Put it that way. They're not like the country. They don't get no interest in the country. They just get interest in themselves and their own immediate gain. But because if you like the country, there are certain things you know go do, and if you get pride, if you consider yourself a Sierra Leonean, why would you want your country and you treat them for look dirty? I mean, it's senseless, but people are doing it. So with the Plato now for think sometimes this not get nothing to do with party. It just they will try to raise yourself above this tribal thing, because when they make tribalism, we not exist in our country. We not get them. Now we try to make issue out of them. We get different tribes, but we get along fine. Anybody, if you're not Minde man, you tap na Magoroka, you tap na Makeni, you tap na Cambia, you tap na Putloko. Go tell me say too many people and say, or local people or Limba people and say, we not like you because you're not Minde. It doesn't happen. If you're not Timini man, you tap na Kalan, you tap na Pujeo, you tap na Shegbema, Daru, anywhere. Nobody go ever say, because you're not Timini, they don't like you. People don't care about all of that. People are receptive generally. People are very nice to strangers, all over the country, regardless. Now the handful of we miseducated brothers and sisters, and then they promote this nonsense. We don't exist. We don't have it. We not the lack or dislike ourselves because of your tribe. If you grow up in a Freetown, anybody will get Freetown experience. If you grow up in a Bo, we all know say anybody in a Freetown, from the top of the street to the other end of the street, you will get Minde, Timini, Loko, Fula, Madingo, no particular area there where you neighbor them close by or near, not to different tribes. It's always been, and nobody no care. So when you get some of them with brothers they are, where they deliberately set a seed for promote some disaster down the line, or for stand up against it because it does not exist. If you grew up in a Bo, I mean, I went to school in Bo, I live in Bo 9.5, almost 10 years. I mean, the tribal issue, everywhere, everybody live together. Nobody gets, the afraid say because this tribe, So then somebody was promoting some silly video the other day talking about, then go kill people and from the north, Nabo and this and that. Such a person, see, Rwanda get laws against that. If you make them threaten and go arrest you and put you in a jail, and try and put you in a jail, because that lead to the Hutus and the Tutsis, then civil war. When you get some unscrupulous politician, we see an opportunity in messing up people's mind, create friction between the tribes that had lived together for hundreds of years as neighbors, and make them begin to say they are enemies to each other. We forgot against that. People like me and some of us we care about the future of the country and we're picking them where they grow up. We forgot against that. We should not encourage any selfish politician. No one tribe get the ability for stand up to the rest of the tribes in the country. If all the tribes and gang up against one tribe, it will be a disaster. So don't let people not there under that illusion there. We do not have a tribal problem in Australia, and we should maintain it that way. So, Professor, I'll pass it back to you.
Say just 20 more minutes. 20 more minutes for the car wrap up. Now, two things I want to very quick.
Let interrupt you. Let me take one call before you come.
But that will be the final call for tonight. That will be the final call. Where
All
they
right.
take them.
Okay. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you to call from?
Hello, my name is Ibrahim. I call from Sweden. Sweden.
Thank you very much.
I
Your
just
name Brian. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for calling.
I get one question for ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the IQ average level for we the Sierra Leoneans then? Because what in Africa, Sierra Leone, no people say that biological problem we get. Yeah, that's a question, Dandy. The average IQ level of we the Sierra Leoneans then.
Well,
Thank you
we
very
get a
much.
history. Okay, thanks for the question. As far as I know, we get a history of being very smart people. We are highly regarded by other Africans as to how informed we are. At the top of Australians, I've been in the company of Malawians, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Rwandans. We always go all we own with the Australians. So we are highly thought of. And that is partly due to we colonial heritage, since we are ahead of a lot of them countries there. So that respect, they still exist. The Sierra Leonean, even the one who don't get formal education, highly intelligent, highly productive. But human beings being what we are, we can be easily misled. We can tap on emotions. It's easy. I will give you one classic example, just for show you how we can be misled, and we have to be guarded against that. If you come on up the Western area, particularly Freetown, from before I born, all throughout my life, at the end of Ramadan, this is just a classic example. I want to give people. At the end of Ramadan, we get what you call watchnet, big celebration. People dance in the streets. The last day of Ramadan, we call them watchnet. We pull lanterns. Even Bo, we get that. Okay, good. We dance on the street. We parade. We fun all night. We dance on the street. Christian, Muslims, they all look forward to that and participate. But not too long ago, some Islamic group of people in camp then tell one of our presidents, say that dance day, that demonstration day, is un-Islamic. He will for stop him. He will not for do him. And will president buy into that? And they abolish watchnet for years now, Freetown. But what? And anybody who know anything about the religion, there was nothing un-Islamic about that demonstration. They would what they call. Just because you come on an Islamic country, you can't superimpose your own culture because we don't do them. Something we don't practice for generations, we let somebody can influence, override with intelligence, and we fall for that and we stop it. But this is how people can influence people in emotion. People that know whose part pan you brain and waiting for tell you. Tribalism now one. Religion now another thing. So we have to be mindful. So when people begin preach something, we need to your own life experience, stand up against that. Because now the China will lead to war. Now the China will lead to unnecessary, uncalled for destruction. Who will have known that the Salone man get the mind for calling Compy Motorman, laying hand and cutting hand and chopping hand? But we did that. Okay? All because people have been influenced one way or the other. They mess with your brain. So talking about your IQ level, we're up there with everybody else. The thing is, some people are just gifted in sowing discord or unrest among people. Some people are gifted, just like how a preacher, you go in church, he go able to convince you for say the last penny where you get, not go buy food, not put petrol on your car. God say make you get that money there and you go believe him and you get the money and live a good life. Then you suffer. And because it don't manage for convince you, say where you get that money there, you don't make you place in heaven. You know, you forget say, yeah, you get for each, you picking and get for each, you get rent for pay and then in there. But this is what some of them, we political leaders, then they do. So when mankind begin talk to you about tribe or this and that, just think. Say, well, since we are born at this age, where they, who stands somebody don't use me tribe against me? You know, or because me that this tribe, me that tribe. They no agree sell house to me, they no agree rent house to me, they no agree give me job. That's, you know, that those are some of the things we should be thinking about. But in answer to your question, sir, the caller, I think we IQ is great. But like anything else, we need for educational people, may they understand the evil way sometimes they right behind this politics or the practice back home. So, Professor, I'll go back to you, sir.
Thank you. Well, what I want to do, I want to let you, I give you the honor for you wish all the viewers and viewers family members a very, very blessed and happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I want to tell you all thank you. They've been with us, they have fun, and they know we don't grow, and we look forward. Say by God power again next year we'll see the Naya, and we pray God say the Christmas will be fine for them and family members, and God will save them from this wild as well. And we will continue for all day for come back for Cancer Week. That I want to do on behalf of the entire viewers until we come back next Sunday.
Thank you very much, Professor. Indeed, we always appreciate people that want to call, people that want to listen to we, people that want to participate, and people that want to tell other people about we. And you know, traditionally at the end of the year, we always get what you call the festive spirit. Everybody, whether you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, that you get that Christmas spirit in you. You look forward to it. You know, you're there in the mood. So we wish you all very, very Merry Christmas and a very successful New Year as we approach Christmas and the New Year. We also hope that, for we when are religious people, continue praying for the country. I know people and they then they say, oh, then give up and this and that, but you can't give up because if you give up, things not going to change. So you therefore maintain that hope there that something good will come along, the right leadership will come, and things they will get the right people and for take the country in the right direction, you know, not to new direction, the right direction. New direction doesn't matter because new direction could be wrong direction. Okay, so we hope and pray that we will continue for listen to we. We wish everybody good health, which very, very much is important. Good health is always important for the rest of we, you know, and hope when I will continue to listen to we. So on behalf of the VOS family, on behalf of this particular broadcast, host them and the presenter and the producer, we thank you very much and wish you now all the safety during this COVID years, last year and this year that we're about to end. Going into next year, the COVID still continues. And on behalf of Ms. Fadima, also, we wish, who is not here today, who is on our way, who is on our way on vacation. So we also thank you on our behalf and wish everybody the best. Thank you.
Thank you. So until then, we'll see you next Sunday by God power.